herd of Dexters.
According to many, Dexters are the perfect family cow. And don't get us wrong, they have worked well for us. But there's a lot of hype about the breed, and in our experience, it's not always accurate. So we just had to get a Jersey heifer for science sake, and we'll do our best to share our experiences, comparisons, observations, and if we figure out any, conclusions. So in case you missed our other movie, you can follow the link right here to see. But the summary of that is one of our cows had a purebred Dexter calf, and at the same time, we got a purebred Jersey calf of the same age. These two have grown up side by side, providing an excellent ground for comparison.
As you can see, there's a little bit of a size difference. They're both just about a year old now.
Chocolate's got a little bit more of the barrel shape, though. So let's take a look at their weight. These were obtained using a weight tape and a beef conversion for Clover, Jersey conversion for Rhea. Clover had the advantage that she wasn't weaned and was still supplementing with mother's milk until she was about 10 or 11 months. Rhea was weaned at 5 months, but did receive 2 to 4 pounds of grain a day, 3/4 of the time, until she was about 8 months. And you'll notice that they are remarkably closely aligned in weight the whole time. We know Rhea's going to get bigger, so we're wondering when that's going to happen. As you can obviously see, though they're the similar weight, the Dexter is doing a lot better at adding on bulk. And this has been our experience with all of our Dexters. They beef up really well. So far, we've only processed one Dexter, and we had no chance to prepare for that. No special grain finishing, he just ate grass, hay, and alfalfa, but even so, the quality of that meat was excellent.
It's time for experiment.
Our experiment is to see how much these cows eat compared to each other. They weigh about the same right now, and they're at 11 and 12 months. So our design here is to have 2 completely equal length leashes, where they're sharing one water source, and over the next 2 days we're going to keep them eating this spot and see how much they eat. So there are some variables I can't control. We chose a section of pasture that has fairly consistent growth, and we've positioned them to make sure that they have an equal portion of lush and sparse pasture.
Okay, end of day 1, and there is surprisingly little difference. I know this is just a semi-quantitative test anyway, and it's based on general observations, but they really do look like they've eaten about the same. So here we are at 12 hours later. That's across 2 days of eating. As you can see, water is somewhat similar. Chocolate over here has been drinking a little bit more. They've both exhausted the food pretty well. There's one patch where Rhea laid stuff down and messed in it, and she didn't seem to pursue that, but the rest of it is trimmed quite short. Clover over here has eaten it down pretty well, although you'll see right around the margin here, there's a fairly wide belt of grass she's laid over but hasn't eaten. So overall, I'd say that they're about identical for their amounts that were eaten until the last 4 hours when Rhea has been pushing hers a little bit harder. Chocolate actually seemed to be the nicer one earlier on. She enjoyed getting brushed and combed and patted, and she didn't mind if we touched her udder, whereas Rhea was getting really kicky for a few months when we were touching her udder. We just kept at it, and Rhea calmed down, but Chocolate's had a little bit of a hard time. Cows are stubborn beasts, and a true test of their character is bending their will to halter training and taking a lead. Rhea.
That brings us to the first part of halter training. You've got to get the halter on. Rhea demonstrates here how we do that, while Clover illustrates the other approach.
Look, we're really trying to give them equal time, but it's tough when this is the process that it takes to get the halter on one compared to the other. Eventually, we did get the halter on her, but there's no footage of that because it took 2 of us in a much more confined space. See that, Chocolate? That's how it's supposed to work. I know. Well, could you just do that? They're cautious, and with all of our Dexters, this has sort of been our experience. We've tried the treat method. Good girl. The force method. The turning circles method. This way. The rope method. Come on. And usually the one we settle on is the push-pull method. It gets slow progress. So instead, right now, we're just going to do the bonding time method. Takes quite a while, but eventually they get there well enough.
That's why it's been such a surprise with Rhea.
Rhea loves going for walks, she enjoys her snuggles, and she's happy to be on a leash.
She doesn't even really need a leash since she'll just follow you around anyway. She just naturally has taken to it, with very few times actually being out here. We found that they work best together, as Clover's behavior is much improved when she has Rhea's example.
In her heifer stage, Rhea likes to just seek us out, and forever over by a fence, she's the first to come over, and she comes when she's called. Yes.
Look at that little chin. Oh, big burp. Look at them teeth. And cue the comments about how incredibly dangerous cows are and you can't snuggle a cow, you're going to get yourself hurt or killed. Yeah, I get it. Cows are huge animals, they're dangerous, and you've got to take a lot of precautions. In fact, every one of our cows is different in how we approach them. Allie likes getting pet and brushed, but she throws her head around and has shown inclination to challenge us before. Heather usually carries a stick when she approaches her just in case, and I only work with her without one because I've used it on her before and she has a cautious, though almost resentful respect from those experiences. Now she knows when she's done wrong, and if I see her drop her head as she gets defensive and nervous, I give her space and we try a different approach. Sangria never suggests a challenge. The danger from her is that she's too skittish and could accidentally hurt you. She doesn't even really like being touched, but if we do brush her, it's in the stanchion. Of course, when they're in heat, we always keep more distance. Rhea had us concerned early on, and she would come up to us and rub her head against us. After initially establishing some respect for us, it just takes a little knock or a gentle tap with a lead as a reminder. Kita would likely be unhappy to hear about the 2 to 3 early encounters it's taken for each cow to learn respect for us. A lot of people say gentle but firm, which is completely useless and vague, and I'm afraid I can't do much better. In particular because what is firm to a cow is far from what's gentle to a human. So, back to Rhea. Early on, we established that she doesn't come too close to us unless we invite her for pats and treats. This allows us to be comfortably cautious now when working with her. Unlike our Dexters, she's a little less fearful and defensive. Maybe other Dexter herds are different. If you buy a cow, check out this aspect very carefully for any breed. Do they drop their heads and get defensive if you approach? On the other hand, do they have a sense of your boundaries? Rhea is not allowed to rub against us, and that 6 to 9 month time period was critical for setting that expectation. Clover right now is fine. She's very cautious about us.
What a joy it's been to work with these 2 silly heifers. We hope that you'll subscribe to join us as we learn more about them and see what they turn out like as full-on dairy cows for our family.
This is Cozy Cow Farm.
We've learned a lot over the last couple years working our mid-century hobby farm,
We've grown, and so has our herd and flock.
but we still try to affordably increase our self-reliance while ensuring we and the kids are having fun.
Every day we find there is still more to learn.
So subscribe to join us on the journey.